Coach, you basically went, I mean, I'll just say the whole game, because it was right at the end when they crossed midfield. It's a pretty good offensive team, and to be that dominant against them, I had to give you a pretty good sense of satisfaction going home.
Yeah, I think, the goal was we had to stop the run. We wanted to stop the run, we wanted to hit the quarterback early, and I thought our guys, right away in that first series, I thought we did a good job. They came up throwing the football, and I thought we affected the quarterback early in the game, and I think that kind of set the tempo for the defense for the rest of the day, and I think it really helped us get off to a good start.
And obviously, a lot of guys are banged up, been missing games. Like Wes has been banged up, and Moat and Keontae, OJ, all these guys. How have you liked how everyone, other guys have stepped up to kind of fill that void without really any kind of drop off?
Yeah, that's been really all season long. It's been trying to get additional guys in rotations, get guys a couple series on, get a series off, to stay fresh throughout the game, and to be able to continue to try to attack offenses, but to stay fresh on defense. And that's really a couple of the games early on in the year. Probably need to hit the rotations a little bit more. I think we've done a really good job of rotating different guys in and out of the games in different situations, and through different series. And I think this weekend we played like 31 of 32 guys on defense in that game. And, there was a couple of guys didn't play. A couple of guys had limited reps in that one, but a lot of guys stepped up. It's been at really all three levels. Different guys, Fitz stepping up and having a really good game. Different guys up front, stepping up and playing different roles or playing in different situations. And no matter the down or distance, like Justin Scott's a guy that continues to get better every single week. It's good to see Moten back out there. Mondo is a guy that's played a lot of different roles for us in different situations. It's just good to see those guys continue to develop their game and continue to take the next step in their game.
And then with Keontae in particular, because Mario said that doesn't look great for him to come back during the season. The guys who were filling his spot, Bryce started in that role. A few other guys rotated in and out there. Just what do you think about how they stepped up in that void?
Yeah, I thought we got challenged the first play of the game. We gave up the first play of the game. They had a 16-yard pass, and Bryce is right there. He peaks, but he's right there. He's playing through the hands. It's a good throw, good catch. Early in the game by their quarterback and receiver. But I thought after that, our guys, really did a good job with their detailed eyes, with their alignments, challenging throws, and communicating with different looks, with different motions, different formations, making sure they're all communicating and working together. And different guys in different spots at times, whether it was at corner or, nickel or safety. And I thought those guys really stepped up and handled the situation. I thought the communication, really the last 2 weeks, has been better than where it's been all season. You can see guys working together and talking and making sure they're, seeing it the same way, different formations or different motions and things. And, those are the things I think, we did a good job with that the last 2 weeks in practice. And I think it's showing up more and more on film right now.
Coach, with Keontae sideline, Jacoby was talking about how as soon as he knew he wasn't playing, he made sure that Bryce knew every call. When he's on the sideline, we saw how animated he was and how much he was trying to keep the momentum, the emotion up. Just when players or veteran players know that they're not playing but are still trying to find an impact, just what does that say about that group, and what kind of type of message does it send to the reserves who are having to fill in those roles?
Yeah, especially with Key, he's a guy that's what he's been since day one. He's always helping, whether it's his rep, it's another guy's rep, asking questions or helping pull up the younger guys or being involved with whatever we're doing as a team. And that's just the type of person he is. He's always getting us better as a program in every aspect, on the field, off the field. And, that's he's always going to make sure we're getting better in those situations. He's always going to be involved. And, he is a huge, what he brings to us as a defense on and off the field just makes us better as a group. And that's evident this weekend, grabbing some of those guys as they come off the field or in different situations and helping them, how he sees it, talking through it, communicating through it with the coaches. That's just the type of person he is, always getting us better and always bringing us up as we go.
The level of physicality in this recent game, did it seem different to you just watching it back?
I think you look all the way back to the Notre Dame game, I think we've played physical. I think we've come out, we've attacked the run, we've played physical when we tackle. I think we take a lot of shots, and try to force it as we go take a shot on the ball carrier. I think that's kind of the level we've played at all year. I think it showed up right away from the start of this game, and I thought the swarm was better this week. That's one of the things we emphasized in the meeting, was our guys, I definitely thought all the way through were straining all the way through the ball. Like there's some really good reps of like Pruitt from the backside cleaning up a play, or Poiser coming down, top down. We miss a tackle and he's right there to step on toes and bite the ball and run through the ball carrier. There's a scramble where Lightfoot's on the backside of the play and he makes the play all the way to the other side of the numbers. But I thought our guys in general, like the way that we practice and the way that we play, I think we play a physical brand of football, and I think our guys run to the ball really well. That's the standard of what we want on defense, and I think those guys continue to buy into that.
After obviously, first year here through 10 games, and you installed the defense through spring and fall. How do you feel like the defense? I mean, they're playing well statistically. How do you feel like they've learned and adapted and fully kind of engaged themselves in this defense? I guess.
Yeah, I think I still think like every day, even as a coaching staff, like we're constantly working together. Okay, how do we see this? Okay, everyone see it the same way. It's a different shift, different motion, different formation, different run fit, pass fit. You're always seeing different things as the game is always evolving. And for us, I think now you go through spring football, you go through the summer, now you go through the first 10 games. Obviously, everyone's closer, on the staff and with the players. And I think the players are having more confidence because now they've seen different pitchers multiple times. Now they're, okay, I remember this one, we've seen this. Okay, now we can just go. Or now they're communicating better together. They're getting used to playing as a group or as a unit more collectively every week. And, at different points in the season, early on you had guys that played together all the way through camp. And then you had a couple injuries there at the midpoint of the season. A couple new guys are in there. Now they're starting to learn how to work together and communicate and play. And, I think our guys have really done a good job of coming in and meeting and working things out and communicating as they watch other games and film and cut-ups. And, I think the last 2 weeks you've really seen where they've worked the best together, through a lot of different pitchers communicating and then just letting it go and playing fast. And, I think as the season goes, you're always going to feel like you're going to get stronger as the season goes on, as the guys just get used to playing together and get a little bit more comfortable together every single week. And, that's our job now during the week to continue to throw different things at them to make sure we stay uncomfortable so they work together and continue to get stronger as we go.
And then looking ahead to Virginia Tech this weekend, just what do you see from their offense?
Yeah, they're explosive. They do a really good job running the ball. The quarterback's a very good football player, Jones. He's a guy, we've coached against him a couple times. He's a guy, he gets the offense to go. Everything goes through him. They're very dynamic in the run game. They do a lot of things, pre-snap, motion, shifts, changing the strength of the formation through different looks. But I think he's a guy, he throws the ball well, but when he's got the ball in his hands and running the football, he's very dynamic. And you look at, 2 games ago, I think they ran for 350 yards or 300 plus yards. Last week against Florida State, it was another 250 yards on the ground. And we got to make sure we got to stop the run. We got to try to make them one-dimensional. We got to get ahead of the sticks in those situations. And then you look at the backs. They got a couple backs that run downhill. They run between the tackles really well. They can make the first guy miss. There was a couple explosive plays last week against Florida State early in that game. And we got to make sure we're tackling. We got to swarm to the ball well. We got to make sure we're tackling and getting guys down to the ground. And then the receivers, there's a couple big play threats. I know like 0 and 2 stand out immediately. As 11's made a couple big plays, but we got to make sure we're constantly working together, and we got to stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and stay ahead of the sticks in the pass game.
The Jacoby Thomas pick six, you just go into what allowed that play to be successful from your perspective?
Yeah, I thought our guys got some good pressure on the quarterback early in the game. I think on that play, I think we had 2 guys off the edge. We had one guy under the back, one guy up over the top of the back. I think it was X and Mo. And I think they put some good pressure on the quarterback. And I thought Jacoby did a really good job staying top down, playing through the zone, reading the quarterback eyes and robbing the throw. He jumped the throw. And then, one thing we always talk about on defense is trying to set up a sideline return. And, I go back to the interception against Florida State with Fitz, where, I feel like if we block the intended and everyone gets below the numbers and we set that thing up, I think we probably score on that play. And it's something we always talk about in practice. We work in preseason camp, and that play was a great example of, we affect the quarterback. It's a really good job by Jacoby jumping the route and, playing top down once he pulls the pin. And then I think Chase blocks the intended receiver. I thought the D-line did a really good job of getting out below the numbers and setting up the return. And I think we get a block on the quarterback right before the end zone. And, he gets below the numbers and sets it up for a touchdown. But, I thought that was just our guys executing at a really high level, really at all three levels from start to finish all the way through the play. And I think that's why we get the result of the touchdown.